now I'm going to turn it over to Terry to talk about our restitution that we received.
This is the show me the money slide. As you see up there, over a period of time, we have collected on behalf of workers $1.345 million from 24 contractors affecting 155 workers. And as Brent shared, a lot of those workers were scattered by the time the project was done, and we tracked them down. On top of this, approximately another 10.8% was recovered by the district as penalties. These are the most egregious contractors. I was personally involved in the Sun Peak, as were Brent and Joe and other staff members, and the district took a very proactive approach once we realized and grasped the significance of the issues involved, especially Eloy and Anne Marie. This contractor, we eventually referred to the state district attorney and to the district attorney in Orange County. That's how egregious it was. So I want to tell you a little bit about these three bad boys. Sun Peak is no longer doing public works, and Central Tech Air and Cal Framing are out of business. So again, without the support of the district, I don't think that we could have been as aggressive as we were, especially to go after interviewing 60 workers. With that, I'm going to show you how we do it. As Brent was talking, you were thinking, well, what does that have to do? It's like a puzzle, just like it shows up there. All these pieces of a puzzle, and you're trying to put it together and see where it all leads. And hopefully where it all leads is people are getting paid correctly, but sometimes it doesn't lead there. But you have to piece through the various pieces of the puzzle anyway. And you're going to have to figure out where is this little nuance here and which that little nuance there. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe.
Thank you, Terry. Our methods in the labor compliance services have stayed pretty constant over the years, but that's in a variety of regulatory and statutory climates. At the time in 2005, when this lease group started working with the district, there were laws on the books in which third parties such as ours could be licensed directly by the state as labor compliance providers. And certain bond measures required the use of a labor compliance provider, either in-house or hiring a third party to monitor the project. In 2011, and so at that point, we performed on the projects that were required by those statutes, but also other projects that the district elected, were large or significant enough to be worth a little extra scrutiny. So all the way from the beginning, the district has gone above and beyond the minimum requirements. In 2011, the climate in Sacramento changed, and the new model was that they were going to have a compliance monitoring unit in Sacramento that public agencies that had bond funds would pay a certain percentage, up to a quarter percent of the bond funds for monitoring to the state. And in order to be exempt from those fees, an agency could elect to have their own labor compliance program. And so during the interim period, the district had its own labor compliance program, and TSG, this lease group, provided some training to staff members in how that would look while they were deciding whether to apply for a permanent certification. But before we got very far down that road, things changed again, and they decided that they didn't want to have the compliance monitoring unit in the same format, and instead they empowered public agencies to do a lot of labor compliance enforcement on their own without needing state sanction. And so what we do now is very similar to what we've always done. It's just that public agencies don't need to be recognized by the state in order to do it. And then last year, SB 854 was passed, which provided a different format for funding oversight, in which contractors would pay for a registration fee, and that registration fee would partly be used for the oversight. And so that's where we are now. I'm sure that the administrators have been doing a lot of work making sure the college is ready to comply with the new awarding body requirements to only make sure that all contracts are issued to registered subcontractors, and also that violations are kept track of, so that if a repeat contractor, a repeat violating contractor could have a registration withheld, could have it suspended, or could be recommended for debarment or criminal even proceedings. And so at this point, contractors rolling out now are being asked to submit certified payrolls online to directly to the labor commissioner. And at first it sounded like, well, great, then someone will be able to review them and the state will take over that function. But it sounds like that the Department of Industrial Relations is focusing on the most egregious cases and debarment issues, criminal issues, the most egregious issues. And so the kind of things that we caught, the 24 contractors that we see here, that wouldn't have happened, because none of them had a record that we knew of. And fortunately, we can say that none of them have been repeat offenders, that we haven't seen them back on district projects, and that's been a great thing. Also, a potential in the future is that the district might be able to view those online certified payrolls that the companies, subcontractors are submitting. At the moment, that's not possible. Eric Rude from the DIR has promised that next month, redacted versions will be available, so at least we'll see who's submitting them, but they still won't show, names of workers and the information that we need to really, get them restitution. In future phases, in upcoming years, that's something they intend to do, is to let awarding bodies have full access to that. And that will make the labor compliance process simpler and easier. Another part of ensuring that contractors who are qualified or working on projects is a pre-qualification program. The Public Contracts Code from 1998 has allowed community colleges to perform financial pre-qualification, and the district is elected to do that for the design bid build projects that are over $3.5 million. We've served in that function of pre-qualifying those contractors and have provided assistance to potential primes and interested bidders in understanding that process. And that includes looking at their financial circumstances to make sure they can bond the project, that they've done projects of a similar size in the past, that they're not too burdened, and that they have good references. We'll actually call owners from previous projects they've done, in a review of any prevailing wage violation history that they might have. So we're interested in knowing some about how local companies and workers are participating in district projects, and we don't have a lot of information. But what we do have, early in our time working with the district, from 2005 to 2008, we were asked to collect information on the size of subcontracts given to for construction projects. Of course, the district's contract is with the prime contractor and not with the subs, and so we usually don't know much about the size of their contracts, but they would agree to provide us information. And so we were able to count that up and to find that during that period, about $4 million worth of construction work. And this would be construction work that involves people working on the site and not necessarily like a materials provider. But about 6% of all the contracts that are given out for construction contractors were going to local district firms. So, the coverage area of Long Beach City College District. In addition, of course, a lot of contractors provide services directly to the district as a vendor, and we have much more complete information on that. And so the district was able to look at the database and find that there's been about $7 million worth of contracts issued to those local vendors from 2005 to present, which represents about 2.3% of all the contracts that have been awarded. And so I'll let Terry finish it up.
Thank you very much. So it's time for questions if you have any.
Hi, Terry.
Hi.
I have a couple of questions. Let me just bring up the slides. So I believe it's page, oh, there's no page number, sorry. I think it's 8. On the
Show me the money slide.
yeah, the show me slide. What happened to the data in 2013, 2014? Was there no violators in 2013, 2014 during that time, or there's just one point, that's 2014, and that's Central Tech Air, or?
These were the largest ones. So I have a whole list here of like minor amounts of money. So we picked the largest one to put on the show me the money one. other smaller projects, we picked them up and restitution was given. But we also, besides identifying these the largest wage ones, is these were really kind of the bad guys. Sometimes with the smaller contractors, like when there's a wage increase, they forget to pick it up, or there's some other issue, or they're not sure what to do, because most of them weren't used to working on public works contracts. As you know, over at the port, you end up with some contractor like that, maybe not. Maybe you're lucky and you don't have that happen. But that happens a lot with school districts, so they end up making much smaller mistakes. But these guys started out on the wrong foot, and they just kept on.
Okay. And I think it's page 11. As far as Senate Bill 854, have we received any complaints from small business owners or small contractors that this is the cost that they have to pay to the state is prohibitive?
No, we haven't. We are working proactively with all of our contractors and contractors that have expressed interest in working with us and sending out emails. They have to re-register July 1st again every year. And as I understand from the DIR, that $300 registration fee was an estimate of the amount of contractors that would register to cover the cost of the program. What they are seeing is that there's a lot more contractors registering, so the hope is hopefully that fee will go down. I have not heard anything
Okay.
definitive on that.
Well, that's good to know. And then on your slide 12, and I think Margie, maybe this is a question for you as well. Are we, so when we're pre-qualifying these design bid build projects over $3.5 million, is that by pre-qualifying, are we referring to the Department of Industrial Relations template and pre-qualifying that route? I see Joe Carroll nodding his head.
Because in coordination with the Solis Group, we did a pre-qualification application, and
Yeah, it was based on one of the two. There are two laws that allow pre-qualification. One applies specifically to community colleges, and others to public agencies in general. As I understand, the legal advice has been that they went for community colleges.
Okay, and then as far as reviewing the contractor's financial ability to perform work, how do we do that?
Yes. It is. They have to submit balance sheets for the last 3 years, and so you'll look at a current asset ratio. You'll look at get a letter from that notarized letter from their bonding company of current bonding status, and also a certified letter from them showing existing projects that affect their bonding status. So you can make sure they have money available to take on the project.
And then when the project kicks off, and let's say you have change orders, do you go back to see if the bonding company provides that kind of financial support for the new value of the contract?
I don't believe we do. No, I don't believe we do.
Because it may double in some areas. And then the other question, sorry, I have a lot of questions. This is a great report, by the way. I see that we have a local, our track record, or the numbers are pretty low, the local hire, or maybe I'm misreading this. Is it 2.3%? Is that the local hire of, or local firms we hire?
So that's 2.3% of all the value of contracts given out to vendors were given to contractors who are headquartered in the district area.
So that's a local business then. Do we have numbers on local hire?
On the construction projects?
Yes.
No, the certified payrolls exist all on paper, and it could be done with enough work, but it isn't something we've put together.
So we don't have a rough idea of where we're at with hiring local
No, construction workers,
employees.
no, sorry.
And do we have a goal that we're looking or aiming at to hire
there's a-
locally?
I don't think there's a policy. I know that. Well, when I've seen other agencies do local hiring requirements or goals or policies, you have to look carefully at the area you're pulling from. That I know if you ask for, if local means all of LA and Orange County, then you can do 75%. You can make it. But if you're looking for district area, then even 30% might be too high. It's something that if you're interested in doing a policy like that, to do a careful analysis of where the workforce is.
Okay, and then as far as the offenders go, is this something that is that we've pretty much mitigated, or is it dwindling down, or how are we doing with the?
We're doing really great with that.
Okay.
And I think that's because the district took a really hard stance, and not all agencies do that. They don't. They decide for whatever reason, we work for a lot of public agencies that, they want to coddle the contractor a little bit, and they don't want to do it, but this district has not had that attitude. So I think it sends a message because they did that, especially Sun Peak was so big. There were so many different enforcement agencies that got involved when we were completed, and we did our piece. I think it sent a message out there. Don't mess with them.
So the one that was referred to the district attorney, I'm assuming that's Tony Caucus's office in Orange County. What was the result? Did they get debarred, or was it just they went out of business? Mrs. Sun Peak.
Because the work was actually done in Los Angeles County, they elected not to take it.
And did we recover damages?
We recovered penalties. The district did recover penalties.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And it still stands as one of the largest recoveries in California. So it was
Wow.
very large.
Wow, thank you.
Other questions? Anyone? Well, thank you very much. Very informative and timely, too.
Thank you for having me.
We move on to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there any?
So moved.
Second.
Anyone wanting to remove anything from the consent agenda? It's been moved and seconded. Comments?
I just have one comment on 5.17, and I'm just really sorry to see our dean, Ken Starkman, leave, and it's a big loss, and I'm very saddened that he's resigned.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for just so people know, he didn't resign in disgrace. He moved to another community college where he is performing as well as he performed here, to my understanding. But okay, Madam Secretary, you call the roll.
Irma Archuleta. Aye. Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
And Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Okay. On to Human Resources Agenda Item 6.1, the 2015-16 salary increase for the management team. Superintendent President Oakley.
Yes, in concert with the board's directive and moving forward with all the employee groups, the management team was held back any additional salary increases until we resolved all of the salary negotiations with the classified staff. Upon conclusion of the salary negotiations with the classified staff, we have proposed to move the management team in a similar fashion, basically that would mean making permanent the 2% one-time off-schedule increase that was provided to them in this last fiscal year, to make that 2% ongoing, and in addition add the COLA that was assigned to the classified staff. And that is the recommendation.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion. This is an action item that the Board of Trustees approve a 3.02 management team salary increase effective July 1, 2015 as submitted.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
I have a question. So the management team, have they received salary increase every year?
Well, the last salary increase was this last fiscal year. Before that, they had not received a salary increase. Do we have that last date, Anne Marie, off the top of your head?
I believe it was 0708, which was the last year that most bargaining groups did receive an increase, and the management team received it half of the year. So theirs went into effect 6 months later than the rest of the bargaining groups.
So since 2007, 2008, there's only been one increase, and that was last year. Is that correct?
That would be the only permanent salary increase. We did go through years where we did furloughs. So there were 3 years of furloughs. When we came out of furloughs, some people could consider that as a salary increase, but it was basically just bringing them back to where they had been.
Is that it? Okay. Any other questions, comments? Then
Doug?
Yes, Jeff.
And I'm just going to reemphasize what was said, that when we began this whole process, the management team, when we were hitting some very difficult times, they're not a bargaining unit, obviously, and we as a board at the time essentially said what we needed to do was start with the cuts with the management, because we're going to go some difficult times with our other bargaining units. And now all the other bargaining units, we've finally completed that. So I've stated this publicly, that it is only fair that we now come back and address the issues for our management team as well, and we're doing so today, and that's why I made the motion. Thank you.
Sorry, Doug, may I ask another question? Sorry. So is this 3.02% in comparison with last year, or is it in totality with last year combined, or incorporated in that 3%?
Who wants to answer that?
It is a 3.02% increase over last year's salary.
So the whole
Correct,
schedule, off schedule, that doesn't affect it?
So what happened last year, actually, well, I guess it was last year at this point, was the management team received a 2% ongoing salary increase to the salary schedule. So that continues indefinitely. And a 2% off schedule one-time payment. So that 2% off schedule, what we're doing here is making that permanent. So that's 2% of the 3.02% increase over last year. Because it wasn't permanent, we have to consider that as an increase. And then the additional 1.02% is the COLA that was applied.
That's the cost of living adjustment provided by the state.
And how many people does this affect?
It's around 100. I don't have the exact number, but it's approximately 100.
Okay, great. Thanks, that's all. Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Irma Archuleta.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Agenda item 7.1, certification of compliance with AB 955. We have to certify that certain extension courses comply with Education Code Section 78230 Subdivision G. The winter extension courses included phlebotomy, Energy for the Future, World Regional Geography, and Introduction to Issues in Philosophy, Psychology, and Religion. And the summer 2014 extension courses included phlebotomy, anatomy, and the same Introduction to Issues in Philosophy, Psychology, and Religion. It is an action item. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I think both Trustees Baxter and Archuleta moved it and seconded it. Can we do that?
I got that.
Any discussion?
I just have a question. So this is to certify last year's, and my understanding is that we're not offering these winter sessions and summer sessions in accordance with AB 955. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes, we did not offer extension courses for the winter of 2015, nor did we offer extension courses in the summer of 2015.
And will we offer it in the future, or is it not going to be offered?
If student demand exceeds the state-funded number of courses, then we do have the opportunity to offer them at some point in the future.
Okay. Anything else? Madam Secretary, you call the roll, please.
Irma Archuleta.
Aye.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
And Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 8.1, a discussion on potential 2016 bond measure campaign. Who's going to give this presentation, Superintendent President?
Yes, so let me begin by saying that the Long Beach Community College District has been very fortunate in receiving support from the community, having passed 2 bond measures back in 2002 and 2008. It has visibly had a great impact on the district through the construction of the facilities that we all see and experience, and even more so has had a profound impact on teaching and learning at the college. And we've benefited greatly. Unfortunately, our plans for construction included receiving state funding for some of our projects that were in line for state funding when we originally drafted the project list in 2008. That state funding has not materialized, and there is no indication that state funding is going to materialize in the near future. The state has been reticent to have a bond measure to support public education construction. The state has not provided the Chancellor's Office any additional capital improvement funding. So we're left with the question of whether or not we should go back to the voters, given that there is a couple of windows of opportunity coming up in the near future. The question before the board is whether or not the district should consider that. And so I wanted to ask Vice President Gable to walk the board through what that would look like, what we would need to do as a board, what our timelines are, and what those windows would be, so that if the board chooses that it does want to go back out to the voters, the board has the information it needs to be able to act. So with that, I will turn it over to Vice President Gable.
Thank you, President Oakley. So you just covered my agenda. And you pretty much covered the unmet needs section as well, but just to reiterate, when we developed the 2020 Unified Master Plan back in, the board approved it in August of 2007, at that point in time, there had just recently passed in 2006 a statewide bond for community colleges, and we had developed and put into our 2020 master plan that we thought we would receive about $64 million in matching state funds. In actuality, we have received $0 in state matching funds, which has resulted in us having to reprioritize our projects, as well as eliminating some of the projects that we had originally planned on completing, since we didn't have the matching funds, and now we were having to cover the entire cost of that project. So kind of moving into the timelines, and if the board did want to move forward with trying to go out with another bond measure to the citizens of the Long Beach area, there would be 3 election dates that would probably benefit us to go for. So that's the April 12th election date, there's June 7th, and then November 8th. All 3 of those are in the year 2016. You see there that the board would have to take action. There would have to be a board resolution If we went with April 12th, the board would need to do a resolution by January 14th of 2016. If we wanted a measure to be on the June 7th of 2016 election, then the board would need to take action by March 11th of 2016. And then lastly there, November 8th, which is a presidential election and would probably be the preferred date to have a bond measure on the ballot. The board would need to take action and have a resolution by August 12th of 2016. If you're wondering how many days that is, it's about 88 days prior to the election date. The board has to take action on putting forth something on the ballot.